Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 206.
Yes.
Have you ever thought what it's like to be wanderers in the fourth dimension?
Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.
The trouble with time travel is one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems on a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
Great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame.
I'm the Doctor. This is Rose Tyler. She's my +1. Is that all right?
That would be me.
Hello. Surprise!
Boom, etc.
I'm the Doctor. Do everything I tell you. Don't ask stupid questions. And don't wander off.
How can you kid this? I don't like the colour.
Howdy do Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Yes.
Bit of a Venusian Aikido this week.
Yeah.
Made an appearance.
Yeah, that was nice, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? New title sequence.
Wish I could do that for Venusian Aikido. There's a few people I'd like to do that too.
That would have come in handy, wouldn't it? On various occasions. I can think of a good 5 or 6 occasions off the bat where you and I could have used that.
Yeah. Just one finger as well. Really mastered it. Just one finger. Brilliant.
Yeah. New theme, new title sequence, new TARDIS. It's all going on.
We got it all this week, didn't we? Yeah.
Got the lot.
Yeah.
It's almost like one extreme to the other, wasn't it? For so many months now, we've had nothing. And even the first episode, we didn't have anything really. And then episode 2, it's all thrown at you.
That's it, yeah. Because I said to you, I thought I would probably have put money on it and lost. I thought the TARDIS was going to appear at the end. And then I said, she'll go through the doors and it'll end. And then next week we get the interior. I thought they were sort of going to give us another breadcrumb. And then next week, you know what I mean? I thought he was really going to drag it out. But no, we got it all, didn't we?
We got the lot.
Yeah. And I think I've got an inkling of your feelings of the interior, which we'll talk about later. But
okay.
I think you've got an inkling of mine. But I don't know what you think of the episode this week. And I don't think you know what I think. So I've been very careful.
So yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been very careful not to blast my thoughts over social media. I think I got a bit excited with episode 1. I was a bit careless. But yeah, this week, I don't know what you think of the episode. You don't know what I think.
It's game
and
on.
I know you don't. I haven't put it anywhere. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to, because it has got a more mixed response this episode, isn't it?
Yes,
definitely
it has.
a more.
Yeah.
Because I think the majority of people really liked the first episode from the reviews we got. This week, I think definitely more mixed. So we'll be interested to see if we're on the same page this week.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, definitely a more mixed bag knocking around. Yeah. Before then, though, we have got some pretty cool news. The usual merch. Mm-hmm. We have our metal friend.
Can you do Venusian Aikido on a Dalek? Just in case, for when he gets a bit lippy.
I could try. Normally, just the cricket bat does the job. Channel a little bit of Fifth Doctor on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, cricket bat normally does it. Anyway, I hope you guys are all well. What have you been up to, buddy?
Oh, I've had a really good weekend. Obviously, just gone. I at the last minute bought a ticket to the Phantom event in Chiswick, which is a tiny little sort of convention that they do every couple of months in this little hall, this little church hall in Chiswick. And it was real last minute because I was a bit short of the old cash, and I was like, shouldn't really go spending money when I haven't got it. And then they added a couple of cool guests, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go. And it was great, mate. They had a good mixture. They had like Ingrid Oliver was there. You like her?
Oh, Ingrid. Nice.
Katie Manning was there. William Russell was there. Who else was there? A couple of people from the new series who I've completely forgotten. But it was good. I mean, I just sort of went to hang out with, like, you know, our friends ago, because like our mate Adam, the old Mahovian, was there and people like that. It was just such a cool, chilled day. And William was lovely. I've met him a couple of times now. He's always such a gent. And Katie's just Katie. I absolutely adore Katie Manning. She was lovely. And it was just a really good day. I didn't meet Ingrid because I met her at LFCC, so back in July. I saw her from a distance. She looked like she was having a great day, actually. Sometimes I think they enjoy the smaller events, because this hall, I think it holds about, what?
200 people? Well,
yeah, I was going to say
150 tops, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty small, isn't it? So it's very intimate. It's nice because you do get a sort of few minutes to actually chat to them and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really, really good day. Got a lovely picture with Katie and William as well from the professional shoot, so that was good. Oh, the lady who was Eldred was there.
Oh, cool.
Eldred must live.
Yeah.
From Hand of Fear. She was there, and I've never met her before. Judith Paris, I think her name is, and she was really, really nice. So I had this sort of picture of her in full costume for her to sign, and obviously I wanted her to write, you know, Eldred must live, and I never know, because sometimes they don't mind writing their catchphrase, and sometimes they sort of roll their eyes a bit, and you know, like what's his name, Victor Meldrew, a
bit of
Richard Wilson. I mean, he's actually really, really nice, but I was too scared. I wanted him to write, I don't believe it, when I met him at LFCC, but I was too scared. But actually, he was really nice. But I do remember a guy in front of me actually asking him to write that at a different signing, and he just kind of ignored it. And I don't know if he genuinely didn't hear him or if he just decided to ignore it. So I didn't ask him. But anyway, I was in the queue for Eldred, Judy Farris, and I thought, I will ask her, what's the worst that can happen? And she was lovely. She was like, oh yeah, she got the picture up and held it to her face. She said, I don't look very, have I changed much? And I was like, well, you look a bit healthier since that picture was taken. And I had a really good sort of laugh with her, and she wrote to Adam, Eldred must live, and all that. So that was really cool. So it's a really nice autograph to have that.
Cool.
And I quite like that story from memory. It's been a while since I've watched that one. We haven't reviewed it, have we? Sarah Jane's send off. No, we'll have to get around to that at some point. So yeah, all in all, a good little geek out in Chiswick with some fellow Who fans this week. It was really cool. Haven't had any chance to catch up on anything in terms of classic Who. So yeah, this week's been going pretty quick for me. So that's all I've been doing, really. What about you, mate?
Yeah, just quiet for me, mate. Yeah, not been up to any Who stuff really. Just looking forward to the Earthshock screening we've got coming up in a few weeks.
Yes,
we mentioned it earlier.
So that, yeah.
So that's going to be cool. Not much on the radar other than that. The Phantom event that you mentioned, if anybody wants to check those out, they are very cool little events. If you just go to, it's spelled Phantom, Phantom, phantomevents.co.uk. They have got a few things planned out up until partway into next year. The next one, because they do these things called signing spectaculars, don't they?
Yeah.
And the November one, which is on Saturday, the 24th of November, has got a couple of classic people there, which might be quite good. Eric Saywood's there. A couple of people that played Cybermen throughout the classic years. David Banks.
Yeah.
Mark Hardy.
Excellent. Yeah.
We've got Annie Lambert, who played the Minister of Enlightenment in Forward to Doomsday.
Oh, you like Forward to Doomsday, don't you?
Yeah, I don't mind it. And
who was she? Was she one of the big green frogs?
Yes.
Was she? Oh, I'd like a picture of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll get a guess just to get the picture.
Yeah. Like
sometimes I've never heard of them. I'll think, well, who are they? But if it's got a good picture, like a big green frog, I'll get one.
A big green frog, yeah.
Yeah.
Claire Clifford, who played Professor Kyle in Earthshock. And one of the Pteroleptil, one of the dudes that was inside in the Visitation, one of the Pteroleptil peeps.
I do like that story.
Yeah, and they sometimes pop a few people on there at times. Like you'll normally get a classic companion or two turn up. They normally add those on there.
Yeah. They've had Tom Baker a few times. I mean, they do. They get what I like about Phantom is they get sort of what you might consider small guests, but quite obscure guests, but they're often like really fun to meet, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
And then they'll get a couple of big names as well. So they really mix it up, and they get people from the classic era and from the new era. That's what I liked about this one I just went to, because they had, like Katie and Russell from the classic era, and then they had a couple of people from the new series, which I must admit I didn't bother to meet, but mainly because of money. Really, I was trying to save money. But they had like the kid who was in the gas mask in Are You My Mummy?
Oh, right, okay.
And of course now, if you think about it, he's it's like, how long ago is that now?
Crikey.
12 years. I don't know.
12.
Can't remember. Yeah. So now he's like a full grown, because I didn't recognise him. And they had the girl from who was in The Girl in the Fireplace. The girl that
that's right.
plays young. She was there, and again, people were showing me photos, and I was like, oh, she seemed nice. Who's that then? She's like, oh, it's the girl from the Fireplace. Oh, right. And so and they had the guy from Fear Her as well. The guy who's like the road.
Yep.
It's a council acts with a council thing. There, he was there, and he was getting loads of attention. So they sort of get they get a good mix of sort of less and smaller parts and bigger parts, and it's an interesting mix. It's always good fun, and they're very chilled. I mean, it was a strangely mild day considering we're in October. We were all sat outside at the end of it on the chairs out in the back garden bit,
right?
Just a big group of us, big group of Who fans, just all chatting a load of Doctor Who.
That's the best part of it, isn't it?
It was brilliant. I was just thinking, I can't believe it's October, and we're all in t-shirts as well. It's bizarre, but yeah, it was the best bit. We'd all got our autographs. We're all talking about, oh, weren't they nice? And isn't Katie crazy? And all this sort of thing. And Katie Manning just walks past and has a bit of a chat with us, because it's that relaxed. You know what I mean? She's just like, well, I'm off now, darlings. And what are you all doing then? And all this sort of thing. And yeah, it was really cool. It was. It does feel like a very like the old school sort of type of convention.
It does, absolutely.
I mean. Yeah.
It's really cheap as well. The tickets are only £12.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, if you think about the cost of going to a larger convention like the Showmasters stuff, that's peanuts compared to that stuff, really.
Well, I was winding up my mate who I really wanted to be there, who he was and ahhing whether to go, and he was like, oh, but I'm saving up to meet, Jenna Coleman's just been announced for Wales, Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, but I've got to save to meet Jenna, and I was like, forget Jenna for what you'll pay to meet just her. You could meet every single person in that entire hall for the price you're going to pay to meet her, including entry. It's just like, so it does put it. They are good value. Like
they are.
Autographs are normally like £10 each. Sometimes they're £5. I think there was a couple of directors there. And producers, from the classic era. I think they were like £5 for an autograph, and some people love that. I mean, some people probably think, well, why would I want to meet them? But some people love to get their DVD signed by the director of a certain episode. And for a £5, if that's what they want, I think it's great. And most autographs are 10. Katie and William Russell were £10 each. Yeah, it's good. None of this £80 to £90 malarkey for one signature.
Well, that's tomfoolery.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that all about?
I know.
Anyway, it's a good event.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I had a really good weekend, actually. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it was cool. And then obviously Sunday night, I racked up to watch Doctor Who live. Watched it live again this week, and you got to see it live, didn't you? Because last week you were dragged out, but this week you got to sit and watch it live, which is good.
I did. I made sure I was there with my little viewing accessories.
I actually lost my shizzle for the first couple of minutes. I lost it big time because we've been watching it on using our projector, so we can watch it. It projects it onto the wall, so it's like watching it in a little home cinema. And I kept saying, right, it's like half an hour to set it up, because you have to put the curtain up on the wall and switch it on and switch the PlayStation on and the sound bar. So it takes sort of a good 5-10 minutes to set it all up and then you sit down with your drink, so you're ready. You know what I mean? And because the thing is, I'm not very good with technology, as you well know. So I leave it all to my partner. I'm like, come on, make sure it's all ready. I don't want to miss, it's the opening credits this week. I don't want to miss it. Yeah, so gets to 10-2. He's still watching the blimmin' TV or whatever he's doing. I said, 10 minutes. It's on in 10 minutes. Yeah. He says. Anyway, sort of. It's getting to like 2 minutes before the blimmin' start. And I'm like, will you get this blimmin' projector set up? And I'm getting quite stressy now. So I don't know what happened, but he sort of switches it all on as if to show me how blasé quickly he can do it. But then the iPlayer cracked up.
Oh, what?
So then it had started, and all we had got was that blimmin' thing going round and round. You know, like on your computer when it's loaded.
Oh, the little buffering thing, yeah.
Buffering thing. I was going mad.
I can just imagine it.
And the more he tried to correct it to get, but he's like, oh, maybe if I go to the home button and that. Then it started playing Country File because he'd pressed the wrong. Instead of pressing watch now, he'd press watch from the start. So I was just going mad. So I was about 5 minutes into the episode. I missed the beginning. And I just was going ballistic. So I was like, so I put the TV on and I was in a strop and I was like, I've missed the opening credits now. And I was getting all moody and grumpy. And then while I was sort of half watching it on the TV, he managed to get it sorted. And I turned the TV off and we watched it. You know, you can sort of watch from the beginning, like live TV, but you can go back. We watched it from the beginning. So I was sort of about 5 minutes behind real TV watching it on the projector, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I can tell you, mate, there was a lot of blue language in those 5 minutes because we was at home all day. That is exactly what it was like. It was chaos. It was chaos. And I don't think it'll happen again.
Oh, buddy.
There was an atmosphere. But anyway, I did get to see it almost live. I was about 5 minutes behind the rest of the world, but I did get to see it. It was dreadful.
So when the first ep was going out, I wasn't able to be there to watch it live. This one, you weren't able to watch it live off the bat. Maybe next week the two of us will sit down and we'll watch it with no disruptions or anything.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah, we'll see.
The struggle is real.
Yeah.
Being a Who fan. Anyways, we've got some news to do, so shall we land?
Okay.
First up in the news, we have some confirmed or consolidated viewing figures, if you like, for The Woman Who Fell to Earth. And I'm not sure whether to be surprised at this or not. I don't think I'm surprised. The opening, we went through, I think it was like 6 million or something, 6 million and something when we spoke about it last week. Well, they've put all the figures together, not just the overnights, and the final consolidated one is the highest ever for an opening episode of a new Doctor's run.
Which is amazing. I'm surprised. I'll be honest with you. I think when we were guessing, weren't we, before the series aired, we said let's guess where it'll roughly be. And considering how far the ratings had slipped for series 10, I'm thrilled. Absolutely thrilled with this figure.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's really, I mean, the BBC must be as well because
can you imagine that?
They must be so proud of themselves, full of themselves. Yeah, but no, it's great. Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing. It's I think the highest. I thought the highest one before that was the David Tennant one for some reason. I just thought in my head that had the highest opening, but it wasn't at all. It was Eccleston. Rose, yeah. And I think the reason for that is just because that's when Doctor Who first came back, wasn't it? That was the opening, the big one, if you like. So that sort of explains that.
So this has eclipsed that, isn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah. So that had 10.8 mil, and Jodie's one had 10.9.
Okay.
So a good 10,000 extra viewers on top of that. And then go back to the classic years. Tom Baker's opening story got 10.8, so just behind Eccleston's viewing figures. But when I say I'm not sure if I'm surprised or not, we were surprised at the initial overnight figures, weren't we?
Yeah,
because we were hoping for, like you said, but for this to eclipse everything, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, surprised in a good way because I mean, I expected it to do well. But I didn't expect it to be, because it was the most watched program of the week. And we haven't been able to say that about Doctor Who for quite some time, actually.
Yeah.
So you'd expect there to be a sort of renewed interest with the, because of the way the program's been promoted with the new Doctor and all this sort of stuff. So you'd expect a bit of a bump up from whatever the 5 million we were getting for Series 10. But this is over double. So that's really good. It's great that has done what it wanted to do. It's brought new people on board. It's brought people back to the show that have drifted off. It's done the job. Definitely. I just hope we can continue down that road, because it is it's really nice to see Doctor Who being so healthy in the ratings again.
It's really good, because they have taken I think the highest one since I think Matt Smith's story, wasn't it? Since the show came back, if we don't count Rose, the highest one since then was Matt Smith's last, The Time of the Doctor.
Oh, really? That was on Christmas Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2013. Yeah. So it's taken, 5 years to get those ratings, back up. But we'll see. We're going to come on to the Ghost Monument figures in a second. But, we'll do that next week, should I say. But we'll see how the series progresses, as we go through, to see if they can maintain that. Because that's what we said. Remember last week after we reviewed The Woman Who Fell to Earth, we said, it's all great, it's all fantastic for the most part, but we've been down this road before where we've had a decent opening episode. So let's see if the momentum carries forward. That's right.
I remember, because with the 11th hour, I remember it got a cracking figure, and it was like the most watched iPlayer, and everyone was like, "Hey, it's it's a success." And then it just gradually drifted downhill after that, didn't it? With From the Beast Below, really. I know the overnights for Ghost Monument have been good. I think they were in the 7 million. I believe I'm right in saying. Yep. So again, when they put the final, tally on that, all the other stuff that they add up, that's going to be a good figure as well, I think. So. Yeah, I think you said on Twitter, I think sort of mid-series is where you need to gauge whether we're on track.
Yeah, I think so.
Sort of episode 5, 6. If we're still getting good viewing figures, I mean, I wouldn't expect it to stay around the 10 million. That just doesn't happen. It's unrealistic. But I mean, if it did, amazing. But as long as it's still healthy towards the middle of the series, then that's when I think you can sort of breathe a sigh of relief, if you like.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So, excellent viewing figures.
Excellent.
Yes. Right. In other news, we've been talking about this for a while. The William Hartnell blue plaque that there's been fundraising for by DWAS, the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, has been unveiled at last at Ealing Studios. So that's really nice. I think we both agreed it was lovely that this was a thing, that they were doing this plaque. There was a couple of people in attendance, including Jessica Carney, who was the granddaughter of William Hartnell, and William Hartnell's daughter, Anne Carey, was there with her brother Paul. Also in attendance was Carol Ann Ford, who obviously played Susan in the original episode, and William Russell, who I was talking about earlier, was there. He played Ian Chesterton. Also there was Julian Glover as well, who starred with Hartnell in the episode The Crusade. So, and Peter Purvis was there as well. So there's a nice little gathering for this opening ceremony. And it's lovely that they've finally got that blue plaque up there for him.
Yes, it's awesome. So Peter Purvis wasn't able to be there.
Oh, sorry. I thought I'd seen him there for some reason.
But he did send a message in, though.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, he did send a message in. But what a cracking tribute to Hartnell. And a really
lovely,
cool, because we kind of championed this, haven't we, over the last month or two, I suppose. Really sort of advertising all the fundraising, the eBay stores and stuff, because I feel like you're probably on the same page as me, but I feel like it's really important to have some kind of recognition for the earlier sort of pioneers, if you like, of the show, because if you don't recognize those early people that paved the way, if you like, for what came afterwards, then it's I just mean it's important to continuously have that in your mind, I think, for anyone. So this being at Ealing Studios, anybody that's there that's working on anything really, it's just a nice little token to be like, oh yeah, Hartnell was here doing his thing, many moons ago. Yeah. And sort of, like I said, paved the way for all of the stuff that we've enjoyed after that. So I love it. I absolutely love it. The Pertwee one is cool as well. That's over at, I always forget this. Where is it?
Wimbledon Theatre, yeah.
I always think it's Wembley for some reason. It's Wimbledon, isn't it? Yeah.
Wimbledon, yeah.
So that's really cool. We just need a Troughton one knocking around somewhere now.
Yes, yeah, we do. Yeah, that would be really good, wouldn't it? then you'd have the three. I love the fact that William and Carol Ann were there as well. That, you know, the original sort of two. It's great that they're still looking so well and involved in these things. And I think it's only right that they were there for this particular unveiling. And so it's lovely to see. Interesting that Julian Glover was there, because somebody came up to me at Phantom and said, because there was someone else there from the Crusade. I've forgotten the lady's name. There's an actress there from the Crusade at Phantom. And so they'd got a few pictures, and one of them had got Julian Glover in the picture. And he said, "Oh yeah, don't ever get Julian to sign anything from the Crusade. Oh no, he did. No, he hated working with Hartnell. Oh, very bad relationship and all that." And now take that with a pinch of salt, because things can get sort of changed over the years. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, it just made me, when I saw he was there, I was thinking, oh, that's strange. Someone was only telling me yesterday he could stand William Hartnell. I was just like, but so clearly clearly that's not true. But it's great. It's just great to see him being honoured. I think I always assumed these blue plaques were in a place where people could go and see them. That's the only thing, like I mean, I know it's Ealing Studios. I just stupidly assumed it'd be on a wall that I could go and look at, but I guess it's actually inside the studio somewhere. So in other words, it's not open to the public, this plaque, is it?
No.
I think I'm right in saying.
That's correct. Yep.
That's the only thing that slightly bugs me about it, because like with the Pertwee one, I assume you can go into I mean, I was there for the unveiling of the Pertwee one, but I don't know where it ended up in that theatre, if you know what I mean. I assume you can go in the theatre and see it, but yeah, that's the only thing, because I'd love to go and see this plaque.
Have a little selfie with it.
Have a little selfie with the plaque.
Cheeky selfie.
But anyway, it is great. Yeah, I'm very pleased.
Yes.
So they've finally got the funds to do it. Yeah.
Good work.
Indeed.
Last up, a bit of news. Anyone that likes throwing their oar in, or throwing their 2 cents in, if you like, will be pleased of this upcoming fan project. I think is the best way to describe it. So Pencil Tip Publishing have announced their newest book project that's coming up, and it's called What the Fans Think. And it's a series of books where fans will review and assess their favourite television series, as opposed to critical reviews by a quote-unquote proper reviewers. And the first one, it's not actually going to be Doctor Who, but it's going to be Torchwood. So you will be able to essentially write your review and your assessment and your critique or your praise, whatever you want to, however you feel about Torchwood, you'll be able to put that all down, and they will collate them in a series of books and publish it for everybody to read. Now, they're kicking this project off with 2 books. The first one you'll really like, mate. So the first one is actually called What the Fans Think, Blake 7.
Yes.
Yay.
Cool. Excellent.
And the second book in the series will be called What the Fans Think, Torchwood. And if you do want to contribute to this, if you want to get your review in the book, there's a load of guidelines over on the Pencil Tip Publishing website. We'll put a link in the show notes. But if you can remember it, if you go to penciltippublishing.wordpress.com/what the fans think, with hyphens in between what the fans think, you'll be able to go on there and read about it and see what you have to do to get your review in there. But essentially, you just write it down and email it. That's the long and short of it. But there are a few sort of little things you just need to be aware of. But if it sounds like your cup of tea, then go for it. It's the submissions, I believe, are already open because they started at the end of September, I believe. So yeah, fill your boots.
How cool is that? That is brilliant.
Very, very cool. I like projects like that.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's a good way of getting. I know people who love doing the fan adventures. They like doing their own stories and stuff. So yeah, very, very cool.
Indeed. Yes. That's going to do for news. Let's get our metal friend in. I say friend. Let's get our metal accomplice in. Let's see what he's got.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
You wouldn't know it, but supposedly it's going to be getting a bit cooler in the UK.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Very mild at the moment. We've had a bit of rain recently, but it's very mild.
It's incredibly mild for October, yeah.
Yeah. Knowing the UK, that will change at the snap of a finger.
You know we're going to suffer for it. I was going to say, just know that any second now it's going to change.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The good news is that the people over at Lovarzi have released a new Fourth Doctor scarf in a shorter, more manageable version. The burgundy scarf from season 18.
18,
no
yeah.
less.
Yeah.
I believe they did this with his normal multicoloured scarf. Did they do a shorter version of that?
They did.
They did, didn't they?
They did indeed, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're a big fan of the burgundy scarf that Tom Baker rocked back in Series 18, but you didn't want to haul around the 2-mile long, very thick, very, very warm and hot scarf, this might be up your street. So Lovarzi have got... when is this out? I think it is out pretty soon, if not now.
19th of October.
So by the time you listen to this, it will be out. It will be priced at $24.99. And if you head over to lovarzi.co.uk, you'll see it there on the homepage when it's released, along with all their other bits on there. So they are still selling the other Tom Baker scarves. You can still buy those in the big, normal, huge version, and they've also got the shorter version as well.
You've got the massive long, you've got the one that's for like screen accurate, haven't you? I remember when you bought it, and it genuinely is huge.
Yeah. It's
how
18
Tom Baker
feet.
wore that every week, I don't know. 18 feet.
18 feet long. Yeah.
Wowzers. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But you can buy the short version there as well as the other full size one, but not the screen accurate one. That makes sense. But anyway, the burgundy scarf, the normal one, the big burgundy scarf is sold out.
Oh.
So if you want the short one that's just about to be released, this could be a winner.
You think they just got all the unsold stock of the normal one and just chopped them up to make these little ones? No, I'm sure they didn't. I actually love these. I'm going to be honest, mate. I love these because they're not for anything other than just to sort of to wear out as a fashion thing. You know what I mean? You're not buying it to sort of, it's not screen accurate and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a really cool little thing that you could just wear out in the winter. I'm definitely going to get one of these. I think it's great.
I love this burgundy one. It's awesome.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I like the other one as well. It's funny because I always wind up our friend, big, tall Adam, the Ultimate Whovian, our friend who's about 7 foot tall. And I always say, like, when I put these little tiny scarves on, because I'm so short, they actually look normal size. You put one on him and it looks like a cravat. But they are great. I'm definitely going to get one of these. I think they're wicked.
Yeah, they're also still selling the little Christmas TARDIS and Dalek scarf, if that's up your street as well.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Yeah. They've done some great stuff.
They have.
I forget who they did the question mark and umbrella, but they haven't got them anymore. I think they sold out.
They were very limited.
Because they were my favourites. Yeah, I loved it when they brought those out. Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. Right. In other merch news, Dalek Tat has brought in a fantastic book. This is so up my street as someone who loves the TARDIS. So there's a new book out called the Doctor Who TARDIS Type 40 Instruction Manual. Whew, that's a mouthful. Which basically is by Mike Tucker, who was a visual effects designer for Doctor Who and part of that department anyway. And it's just a great book. It just looks at the TARDIS in depth, basically. So it looks at all the different incarnations of the console. It looks at floor plans, specifics of the dematerialization, all the force field and tractor beams the TARDIS has had. I tell you, I haven't got this book yet because it's literally just come out, but I've seen people that managed to get it already and they've posted pictures on Twitter. It just looks stunning, mate. I don't know if you've seen these pictures that are floating about on Twitter and stuff. Oh, it's just like like it shows all these sort of, like as I said, the graphics of the TARDIS and how it's changed each time. What do you call it when they do like when I say graphics, what do I mean? Like, like the floor plans, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you call it?
Like technical illustrations.
Yeah. It just looks great, and obviously it's got photos and stuff in it, and it's got the new console on the front cover as well, which is why it's been under wraps until the episode was released on Sunday. So it's amazing actually they managed to keep this under wraps, because a bit of a big spoiler on the front of the cover there. It just looks and sounds brilliant. I can't wait to get it. I think it's quite cheap as well. It's about $10 or $12.99. It's not
It's £10 from Amazon currently.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
And it's going to be out this week. So if you're listening to this on launch day, it would have come out yesterday at Amazon.
Yeah.
On Amazon, should I say, yeah. A nice little message on the back. The TARDIS has been described as the most powerful ship in the universe. It can take you anywhere in time and space. This manual furnishes users with full operational guidelines.
Brilliant.
A little asterisk, and then at the bottom it says, includes all regenerative updates. So that I think that means every TARDIS up until Jodie.
The new one, yeah. I just love it because I love anything to do with the TARDIS. And it's obviously covers the exterior as well as the interior. So it's just, this is heaven to me, mate. Honestly, this is like, I can't think of a book I would rather have in my collection of this. I just love this sort of stuff.
It's awesome. Yeah, I can't believe the price as well. Normally, these type of books are normally at least 20 quid.
Yeah, I don't know how big it is. I mean, it could be small, but I don't think it is. I'm sure the pictures on Twitter make it look like a decent sized book. I don't think it's like it's not like the little book of Help. It's not tiny.
It might be like the little Mr. Men books.
Oh no, no, it's not. It's definitely not. I've seen pictures of it. It's a decent size.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely need to track this down ASAP.
A defo pickup.
Yeah, it's a defo pickup. Yeah.
And lastly, for merch, we've got a bit of Titan news.
Oh,
one of them I like, one of them I don't. You know exactly.
I bet I can guess which one. Yeah.
So the first one is we're getting a new regeneration version of the 13th Doctor in the Kawaii version, which looks ridiculous. But I know
that's the one you like. Oh.
No,
I do. I know, really.
I know you'll be all over this. You'll have this up on a Geek's Handbag. You will.
Basket.
There'll be a video on the Geek's Handbag YouTube channel as soon as this. I'm sure of it.
As soon as I get them, yeah.
So that's the first one. Those little 6.5-inch Kawaii versions of the little Titan figures. So she's wearing Capaldi's clothes essentially. I don't know why they don't just say that in the description, because in the description they said the Doctor's still wearing, the tailored navy overcoat with the deep red lining. So she's just been traveling through time and all that. Essentially, it's just Capaldi's outfit.
Yeah, wrecked and
shabby. So I don't know when that's coming to the UK, though. I honestly can't. Well, I'm assuming it's been and gone because these things normally do.
Well, when the released, you mean? Because they were, what were they? They were a New York Comic Con exclusive. So now that's all out the way. Well, it looks like the
21st.
Yeah, there we go.
21st of October from forbiddenplanet.com.
Yes.
20 quid.
For that?
£20.
Yeah. But that's the one you don't like. Talk about the one you do like.
The one I do like, yes, is the little TARDIS.
Jodie's TARDIS.
Yeah, the little, as part of the little 6.5-inch range again. It's the Comic-Con exclusive, the New York Comic-Con, not the San Diego one. And it looks beautiful. I love this little TARDIS.
It does look cool.
Yeah,
it does.
I absolutely love it. And it's, I mentioned this before, but I'm pretty sure that Jodie's TARDIS has got this real kind of, you probably can't see it, mate. I know you're colorblind, but it's got this real little turquoisey hue to it. It's got such a cool little look to it, and they've it just looks really good for the size. It looks really detailed and awesome. So I will probably pick this one up.
Oh, you have to get one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, your shelf needs one of these. I shall be getting one.
Yeah.
In fact, I've already pre-ordered it. So I can't wait to get it. I love the look of the TARDIS. I like the look of the Kawaii as well. I wasn't too sure about them to begin with, but I actually quite like her in that velvet through time jacket. But but I love the TARDIS. I think that looks absolutely cool. A lot of people are saying, but it's just a repaint of the 10th Doctors because the sign's the wrong size and blah blah blah. I'm thinking everything on a Titan is the wrong size. Like if you're going to worry about that, you may as well not buy it. But yeah, I know what they're saying. It's the same as they've.
Yeah,
it's the same mold as they've had before with every other TARDIS, because they did the Christmas one, didn't they? Which I loved. I love that Christmas TARDIS with the wreath on the front. You got one of those. Yeah, we both got one in a smash box, didn't we?
Yes.
So let's hope that when we order this one, it arrives in a unsmashed box, because it looks freaking awesome. Can't wait to get that. When's it out? end of October?
21st.
That'll probably go back. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to getting that.
Yeah. Although from Forbidden Planet, you do have to pay an extra £4 delivery.
Oh, they're deliveries, man.
So it's nearly 25 quid for a tiny little, just freaking press the button, Gary. Just do it.
Just do it, man. Just do it. Well, what I do is I try and get a load of stuff together so that I pay, because you'll pay £5 no matter how much you order.
That's
so
true,
if you order just one of those TARDIS, you'll pay a £5. But if there's anything else you want from FP, get it at the same time because you'll still pay a £5. It is a bit annoying, their postage thing, but yeah.
That's very true.
I'll tell you what I recommend, although I don't know what it's called, but there is a really nice comic book just come out with the 13th Doctor on the front, and she goes through all her previous incarnations throughout the comic. And I don't know if you've got it. You may have been sent a PDF of it, actually. I think it's called The Lives of the Doctor.
Yes, I've seen that, yeah.
Now, that is lovely.
Right.
That is a really nice comic, so maybe you could add that to it. But you may have got the PDF, I'm not sure. But
I do, yes.
That's a nice thing to have.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah, not that I'm encouraging you to spend.
No, of course you're not.
Of course, yeah.
Might have to track down a couple of collectibles then on Forbidden Planet.
What about the Barbie?
The Barbie.
The 13th Doctor Barbie.
Yeah.
You don't want that. I know you wouldn't order that. It's sold out anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say it's gone, isn't it? Yeah.
It's gone, yeah. 55. I must admit, I think I might have already said it. I was tempted with it as a little... I thought I'll get one just so I've got it because it's something a bit different, you know. Yeah, and I saw the price. It's like £55 for a Barbie doll. No, forget it.
You must be mad.
But obviously somebody will pay it because they've sold out.
There'll be some little girl chewing the face off of it and wrecking the clothes.
They're going to be on eBay for like 150 quid, aren't they? Because it's a limited edition. Yeah, people are obviously buying them up, waiting to sell them. I hope. Yeah. Anyway.
Jesus Christ. Anyways.
Yeah, chewing the face off of
just
a limited edition Barbie.
Yeah. There's probably a Doctor Who fan that's bought it and says, right, we'll keep this in the box because it'll be...
Turns around and the kid snaps his head off.
Yeah, the kids just rip the box apart. I've taken it out and no hair now and covered in spit. And
shaved its head. It's got an unusually long neck as well. I don't know if you still got the picture in front of you. It's got a really long neck.
Okay, right.
Yeah, it just looks a bit strange. Anyway.
50 quid's worth of strange.
55 quid's worth of, yeah.
Rightio.
Oh dear.
News and merch is done.
Yes.
What are we reviewing this week, my friend?
Yeah, so episode 2 of Series 11, The Ghost Monument.
Now, I know this is a bit of a shock.
Well, you could say that. I mean, we have been dumped in space. We've got spaceships crashing all around us. Now we are marooned on a planet that everyone else is racing to get away from.
All right, anyone can focus on the negatives. You can get us off this planet alive. I promise.
Well, Riley was a test of survival. How far will we go? How will we react when challenged? It's the ultimate test.
Are we going to die? Not if I've got anything to do with it.
Finally, a big feast of lives.
Ghost monument.
The Ghost Monuments.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be the TARDIS, didn't you?
I just know.
No, really?
No, I didn't know.
No, I saw that coming.
You knew it, was it? Okay.
Yeah, could tell.
Professional.
I'm with it.
The Ghost Monument was first broadcast back in the 14th of October. 2018. It was written by the Chibbers. I think he's stopped writing them now. I think it was the first two, wasn't it, that he wrote?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Chibbers wrote this one as well. It was directed by Mark Tundari. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It stars obviously the TARDIS team and with a very small, very, very small supporting cast, this one.
Yeah.
The story is pretty basic. The Doctor and the team, based off of the cliffhanger from last week, find
Great
themselves
cliffhanger. Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah. Not where they thought the TARDIS was going to be, or not where the Doctor thought the TARDIS was going to be. So they're just stranded in space. They ended up getting picked up by a couple of, which at first I thought were humans, but they're not. They turned out to be aliens from planets I've never heard of before. They scooped them up, and these guys are in the middle of some kind of epic interplanetary race where the winner gets like, it's like a lottery win essentially, and their family gets saved and quality of life and all that lot for the rest of their lives. The Doctor, it's kind of the Doctor and the TARDIS team kind of get dragged into it in their final bit. So these two aliens have landed on this planet called Desolation, and that's the final bit. Their final task is to find the ghost monument, which we've learned relatively early on that it's just the TARDIS. And the Doctor explains that they say that it appears now and then, and the Doctor explains that because the TARDIS has been damaged, it's like phasing in and out of time and space, which is why it's not there all the time. So they've now got a common goal. So those guys want to get there to win the race. The Doctor and the team want to get there so that she can get them home and she gets her TARDIS back, etc. And then along the way, they learn a few things about this alien race, which seems to be a sort of ongoing thing, it might seem, throughout this series, which is the begins
Stenza.
with the Stenza. That's right. Sorry. So the Stenza, it turns out, has sort of done a number on one of the aliens' planets, and now they don't have a very good quality of life at all. So she's fighting for her family in that respect, and then the other alien just wants to prove himself as a bit of a dude,
bit of a lad.
Yeah. And it turns out that they won the race jointly. The Doctor sort of says, we're all here together, so go and tell the dude that, we've won the race, and clicks his fingers and off they go. And then the Doctor finds the TARDIS, and we see the new TARDIS.
Yeah.
Both inside and out. So, yeah. Episode 2 then, buddy. What did you think?
I quite like it.
Right.
Yeah, I quite like it. But I did find it a bit slow. So I sort of enjoyed it, but I don't know, for a second episode, it didn't have the punch that I was hoping for. So I was also a little disappointed in it.
Right.
So I'm a bit torn on this one, mate, because I suppose I'm sort of watching it hoping it's keeping those new viewers on board. And I don't know if it did enough to do that. It really sort of slowed down in the middle, because like when I watched this for a second time yesterday, and I was bored. I genuinely, but about halfway through, we're on the boat, and I was like, oh God, this does really drag. Like, get on with it. I kind of like it as an overall episode,
right?
But I was a bit disappointed in it as a sec, because I was like, when we left the Doctor at the end of episode 1, she'd got a new costume. Jodie was now fully into her role as the Doctor. We got all the regeneration stuff out of the way. Let's get into our first adventure. And it sort of, it did that to an extent. It kicked off with all the exciting stuff on the spaceship that was crashing and all that kind of action. And it's really just the middle part, I think. I just thought, there's a good sort of story in there. And it's a nice, simple story, just this race. I just felt there could have been a bit more tension. And
right.
One thing me and my partner agreed on after watching it was that there was a good episode there, but the sort of execution perhaps wasn't as good as it could have been. Like, for us, what was really missing from this episode was the tension and threat. Like those droids that were shooting.
Sniper bots.
They were just useless. I mean, they were the worst shots ever.
They were the stormtroopers of Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly. There was just for me, there was no tension there, apart from the bit when, what was his name? Ep206 sort of had that thing wrap around his mouth, and that was quite, that sort of made me sort of wake up a bit. So I think, I don't know, I think it'll be one of those episodes that sort of once I've, the series is done and all that, I'll go back and I can probably sit and enjoy it. But just as the second episode that I think should have had a bit more punch, as I said, to keep those new viewers sort of like, oh, this is it just didn't have that. It was just it just sort of took its time. And I guess you could perhaps say that takes it back to the classic era, but not saying it as a bad thing. It just didn't sort of have the excitement I was hoping for, really.
Right.
So it's a bit of a sort of middle ground for me on this one. Yeah, I don't by no means think it's bad, but I don't think it was that great either. I think it could have been better. Yeah. What about you, mate?
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it.
Yeah.
In that respect, yeah. I so wanted for this one to be even better than the opening episode.
Yeah.
For the same reasons as you, really. We've got the regeneration out the way, and she's got a costume and stuff. We might not have the TARDIS yet, but she's got a costume and a sonic. let's, like you said, let's crack on with a really cool first adventure. But I found myself just really wanting a lot more out of it after the episode had finished.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason for that, and I think you said it as well, that there just wasn't enough of a threat in the story at all, really. And it kind of felt like the opening episode in a way where let me put this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm a complete idiot. Like the opening episode, although the villain was, like Tim Shaw was a fairly good alien, I suppose. It felt like he was there just as a mechanism to get our main characters through the story.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't in any way, even though he was quite scary at times, I didn't feel like in any way he was going to trouble them too much.
And I know what you mean.
And it felt the same with this one. It felt like the sniper bots, the remnants, you know, the little toilet paper monsters. And, you know, it felt like they were there not as a decent threat and a proper, you know, caused our TARDIS team too many problems. They were just there as an offshoot of where, you know, essentially the story was, we need to get from A to B.
Yeah.
That's basically the story. And what we should have had is like a really cool chase kind of story where the monster or the villain was kind of set up at the beginning. And then throughout the story, there's this, will they catch them, will they won't? You know, it's like hot on the heels of the guys getting to the ghost monument. But it just it didn't have that at all. It just like these little interspersed bits where these little flash in the pans, little moments. Like we could have had some really cool stuff with, so when they get on the boat or about to get on the boat, I think it is, the Doctor realizes that there's like these flesh-eating microbes in the water.
That's it, in the water, yeah.
Yeah. But nothing happened with that. It was just, you know, the planet's covered in these, you know, horrible microbes in the water. But they didn't revisit that whatsoever. Nothing happened, so there's no threat there. And then the sniper bots, as you said, were just useless.
Yeah.
And then the toilet paper monsters, we had that one scene.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, we had that one scene where the guy's being choked and suffocated. And then they sort him out. And then that's it. They're off and they're done. So
never going to look at toilet paper in the same way.
So I felt a little bit like, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, you know, a decent enough watch. And I wasn't, I didn't sort of come away thinking, oh no, Series 11's now doomed. What's, you know, it's all gone to pot. I didn't think that. I just thought, yeah, that was good. It was a good watch and I enjoyed it. But it could have, it's that age old thing with, especially with modern Doctor Who, it's that it could have been amazing. It could have been, but it just kind of, it's got that glass ceiling at 80% that it doesn't seem to break through, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of it was down to the direction? Because visually it looked fantastic, didn't it? Like the episode itself looked brilliant. It just looked incredible. And the music was on point again. It's, you know, the sound design was excellent. But, you know, like you said about those bots, those droids, what are they called? The
sniper bots.
The sniper bots.
Yeah.
Do you think the director could have made them a bit more threatening? Because, I mean, they did just literally just shoot, you know, anywhere and miss everyone. Because there is only one shot, I think, of their actual face as well. You get this quick shot of their face, which they look kind of interesting. I was thinking, you know, we need to see a bit more of these guys. And I just felt no threat from them whatsoever when they were chasing them. And I kind of thought, like, you know, if the director had sort of, you know, just made them a bit more menacing, that it could have brought something more to the story, really. You know, I don't know. Like you said, I'm trying to sort of work out where, because I do like the actual storyline, and it looked great, and there were some really good scenes. There were some nice character moments, and we, you know, we got the reveal of the TARDIS at the end, which, you know, brings the score up for me, because that was sort of, I think, without that reveal, without those last 5 minutes, I think this episode would have been, you know, a lot worse off for it. So I'm sort of trying to think, so what is it about the episode that didn't work for me? And I just wonder if some of it's down to perhaps the direction a bit, because it is that lack of threat, I think, that sort of, because it didn't engage me enough, I suppose. That's why I think we needed a bit more threat. I was happy watching it, but I just wasn't on the edge of my seat or totally 100% engaged in it. I mean, there was a bit in the middle where the guy was on about his mum, telling him to jump from the treehouse, and lovely moment and all that. But I was just thinking, God, where's this story going? It didn't seem to flow in a natural way. It didn't seem to build up. It just seemed to sort of drift on, like you said, from A to B, and then we get a nice moment with the TARDIS. So I just wonder if it's down to the direction. I don't know. I'm not putting it solely at Mark Tonderei's,
Tonderai. I think that's
Tonderai. Yeah, not putting it all at his feet. I'm just sort of thinking that, because I do think there's a really, really good episode in there. I think it could have been really, really good. And some people really enjoyed it. I mean, as I said, the response to this has been massively mixed. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people really, really enjoyed this episode. So that's, it worked for them. But yeah, I just felt it just lacked something for me.
No, I agree. I think it's down mainly to the threat, because it would have been cool to see. I think a couple of our listeners who sent reviews alluded to this as well, where when they was on the boat and the Doctor had already mentioned about the flesh-eating microbes, I assumed that one of them was going to fall in the water and that was game over.
Mm-hmm. So did I, actually, yeah. I would have put my money on Ep206 as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought that was going to...
I thought, is it goner?
Yeah. So when the Doctor mentions that, after she scanned everything, you think, oh, okay, this is like a little key, that's what's going to happen. Someone's bound to get eaten by the microbes or whatever. But I think that was just adding to the... And here's another thing as well. They really sold the idea that this planet was this, just as the name suggested, this kind of desolate planet that was, out to sort of kill anybody that visits there, essentially. And when they're in the tent at the beginning, with the hologram dude.
Yeah.
He said, "Don't travel at night because things, bad creatures are out at night, essentially, which is the toilet paper monsters."
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, I thought, right, they've used another sci-fi story now. So last week it was Predator, essentially, for the woman who fell to Earth, and this week it's there's a Vin Diesel film called Pitch Black.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
So that's exactly the same thing, where they crash land on this planet, looks exactly the same as this. It's like this desert planet with a couple of suns or 3 suns. But then at night, these monsters come out and it's unsafe to travel. So they've done that. It seems like each week maybe they're just going to pick a sci-fi film and just use the story maybe.
When are they going to do E.T.?
So, yeah, I thought, okay, so they're obviously going down that road, if you like, and just using other sci-fi, which is not a bad thing at times. It's
sometimes it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, it must be. There's been so many films, but I suppose it's difficult sometimes to come up with an original idea. It must be really frustrating as well to think, yeah, I've got one, and then someone says, oh, but that's a bit like The Thing.
I saw that last week.
Oh, drat. Yeah, but yeah, I kind of now you've mentioned it, I can kind of see what you mean.
Yeah,
mean about that.
So I think the problem with it is it had too much familiarity with other sci-fi. It didn't feel unique. Like this is a groundbreaking concept that we've seen, that Doctor Who's bringing to the screen.
Yeah.
And the monsters just didn't really do anything.
No,
that's the problem. Yeah.
I think the monster of the week, for want of a better phrase, was quite weak this week. If you know what I mean. But did you think there was a little part of me when they sort of came over the desert top and they saw the tent in the middle of the desert? There's a little part of me that was like, oh, please let this be Greatest Show.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Please let the chief clown be in there. And I was hoping that was a kite sort of rattling in the wind and stuff like that. Yeah. But no, alas, it wasn't to be. But did you think that as well when you saw the tent in the sand? Did you think
absolutely? Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, here we go.
That would have been so cool.
You're gonna have some crazy clowns running around.
Suddenly, a black, funeral car or whatever is going to drive past, sort of thing. But no, alas, it wasn't to be. As I said, the episode visually looked fantastic, didn't it? I don't know where they filmed it. South Africa, I think. Was it somewhere like that? I don't know. It's had some money put into it, and the spaceship CGI when it was landed and all that looked brilliant. I thought looked really sort of good. You know.
Yeah.
So it ticked a lot of boxes. It probably sounds like I've been a bit negative on this because it definitely ticked a lot of boxes. And just quickly going back to the very beginning, the opening credits that we got to see for the first time. Let's just quickly, because for me, they didn't disappoint. I thought they looked beautiful.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did you? Because I was shocked to see some people on Twitter. Well, I suppose I shouldn't be because it's Twitter, but I saw some people saying, "Oh, they were ghastly and or worse." I was thinking, "Are you joking?" I thought the opening credits looked fantastic. The best, in my opinion, since the show came back in 2005. I just think they look so good. And the music, the best theme since the show came back for me as well. So that got me off to a great start. I mean, I really did think they got that absolutely right, in my opinion.
Yeah, I absolutely love those. Just the music as well, and the
beautiful.
The whole, it's got a really lovely. It's definitely got a classic Who feel to it.
Oh yeah,
it definitely feels like a Pertwee-esque bakery kind of feel to it, music and visuals.
What did you think about when the Doctor Who font finally appears in the credits? It just was done really well, I thought.
Yes.
Like in the Tennant era, it used to sort of roll sort of away from the screen and back, and this one it kind of sort of floats in. If I can't try to think how it does come on now, but I just thought it all worked for me. It really did, just look fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, and it's got and the thing I like about it as well, we get back to that kind of eerie, creepy kind of feel and vibe to it.
I thought we might get a picture of Jodie's face. Sometimes they used to put the Doctor's face in the credits, and I was thinking, is she gonna? But she doesn't, and that's okay. I don't mind that. I think maybe it didn't need it, but I bet you somewhere there's a test version where they've put in, like you used to get like Troughton's face coming towards you through the vortex. I can imagine it, can't you? I can imagine Jodie's face sort of in that vortex, maybe giving a little wink like Sylvester or something. I don't know, but as I said, it's no worse for not having it. But I can also imagine it being in there. It does definitely have that classic sort of Pertwee Troughton vibe to it. Yeah. But updated,
Yeah, I don't know what you mean about the logo, but kind of it's like these particles that sort of appear, and then the logo, and then it sort of turns and goes past
it or whatever. Yeah, I thought it was lovely. Yeah,
and just the quality of it as well, like the visual side of it, like as when the logo's gone through, got like this sort of bubbly effect, and then there's this star field that looks like. I'll tell you what it looks like. If you've seen this film called Interstellar.
Oh, yeah, I've seen Interstellar, yeah.
You like those sort of space scenes where they're sort of travelling via the black hole.
That.
Yeah, it's got that kind of vibe to it, but it just looks gorgeous. This is probably, it's up there. It's definitely up there with like the best opening theme, I'd say.
Oh, I love the theme. Yeah, I mean, the graphics and all that aside, I think the new theme tune.
I mean, like the whole thing, the intro as a whole.
Yeah,
the music and the visuals. It's got that real, because Jodie's face is not in it, and we don't have the TARDIS. That's another thing. The TARDIS doesn't make an appearance as well. Yeah. And it hasn't got the typical sort of time vortex, circular tunnel, if you like, that we've seen over the years. Because it's got a quirkiness to it and a strangeness, and it's got that old bassy classic. It just feels like suspenseful and creepy again. It's awesome. I love it.
And it's one of those intros as well that I think you'll know what I mean, because this is going to sound a bit odd, but it's going to be one that I look forward to seeing each week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we all have our favourite intros, don't we? So for me, it's the Pertwee with the sort of blue laser beams that turn into the vortex. It's sort of I love that. I think it was sort of from his last season onwards, but and I always look forward to it. I'll never skip the intro when I'm watching DVDs because I love just that. Absolutely. And this is going to be one of those intros that I just will look forward to seeing each week, because like, for example, so for like the Matt Smith title sequence, I wouldn't really be too bothered if I sort of missed that and just come in as it had just started. But this one, I really want to see it each week. It's got that, it draws me into the episode, if you know what I mean. It's almost pulsating, isn't it? The whole thing's just sort of goes so well with the music. And the end credits, I don't know if this is just me. it says because it pulsates in and out, and the credits are rolling up. It sort of messes with my mind. I don't know if it does that. I don't know if it's anything to do with being colorblind or if it, because it's sort of, to me, I can't really explain it. It's sort of it almost looks to me like a bit like sort of rubbing your belly and patting your head. It's as if one's going one way and the other's going the other. Does it do that to you, or is it just my? It really messes with my head each week. The end credits.
Yeah, a little bit. It's sort of a little visual trickery. It sort of tricks your mind into. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if I can explain it, but it just the end credits just sort of mess my mind up somehow. But I do love the intro. That's got a big plus from me.
Yeah, it's really, and the colours are cool as well. Like it's really deep purpley, bluey hues and stuff. It all fits perfectly, and I can't wait to see this type of. I hope they put this type of thing on packaging for merch and stuff. I hope they do. Yeah. Because I know they've got the bright yellow, fiery looking logo.
Yeah.
But this one with I know it's still that logo, but it's got like that purple glow around it and, some other stuff. And once the logo's gone past through the screen and then you get through to the next bit, that whole Starfield-y bit, I hope they use that kind of thing on some packaging. That would be awesome.
I agree with you. It's funny because I was convinced we were going to get something like, that teaser we got where the rock flew through the sort of, there's all that fire and brown colours and, like that glistening glow. I thought it was going to be along those lines. This is a much darker, sort of more moody intro, isn't it? And again, I'm really pleased about that. I'd like to see on the packaging, because the packaging we've got so far for Series 11 merch has been very bright and quite sort of, for want of a better word, we both said it, a little bit sort of more aimed at the sort of child market, isn't it? It's been very bright colours, and I think this would work really well on packaging for the new series. Yeah,
indeedy. Yes. Okay, what did you think to? Okay, so storyline and stuff. I think we're in agreement. It wasn't the strongest again.
No, it wasn't. No, and one thing that does niggle me about Chibber's writing, and I was worried this was going to happen, and it's exactly what is happening. He always seems to have a slow build up with a fast resolution. Do you know what I mean? Like the wrap up to the episode was so quick. It's like, that's done. Right. Where's that TARDIS? It's just, and yet we'd had this really sort of slow build up to it. And he does that a lot. I mean, Power of 3 kind of did that. I think it had such a great sort of build up, and then the resolution for what there was of it was just over and done with. And, it's one of those things Chibber seems to do a lot. And I think he was very much guilty of that with this episode. So
I think, Power 3, it's the same sort of vibe, isn't it?
It's just that sort of, build up to nothing. Again, it left me feeling a bit sort of, oh, is that it at the end of it, if you know what I mean? As I said, if it wasn't for the TARDIS scene, I think my score would have been at least a couple of points lower this week.
Right.
Because if it had ended just like that, I would have been like, really? Is that it after all that? So, it's a bit. That's one of the things that I was concerned about when with Chibnall as a writer. But he's great at characters. He's absolutely brilliant at characters. But it's just, I don't know. His sort of storytelling, I think, sometimes is a bit uneven.
Yeah, it hasn't got a like the payoff is great, but you've had to go through a bit of a slog to get there, and it's not really sometimes. Well, in this one, it was a decent payoff because we got the new TARDIS reveal and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I like the stuff with the cigar. That was a nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
The way she threw up in the air and clicked her fingers, and that was great. I thought, oh, cool. Yeah, so that's a good moment. But it just all felt like a bit of a build up to nothing.
Yes. Yes. So story-wise, not the strongest. I mean, last week we could forgive a little bit. Because,
you can. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like last week it was literally all about Jodie and the companions, getting those guys set up and getting to know them. And so we relate to them and, and all that stuff.
So got a job to do,
Yeah. So although the story was, kind of important, we could forgive it a little bit because it's the first one, if you like, almost like a Rose situation. I mean, the episode Rose.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, now that we've got all that out the way, it's harder to forgive because they should be not worrying about, the cells reforming in my body now. That's all done. Shouldn't be worrying about where's my Sonic and all that stuff. It's all been done. My costume's there. It's all been done. One thing I will say, just to get this out of the way quickly as well, is I think you mentioned it earlier that like last week, it looks fantastic.
It did. Yeah. Production-wise, brilliant. Absolutely
brilliant. So whatever cameras and lenses and all that stuff that they've got in to do all this stuff, keep those around. Keep using those because it looks just phenomenal. Remember when we reviewed some of the old Matt Smith stories and we said, this looks brilliant. It looks, this is another level, isn't it? This has gone up a notch.
It's definitely, yeah.
And stuff. So sniper bots, we've spoken about the little water microbe things that we never get to see because it appears that the Doctor can just see those. It looks like.
Yeah, so maybe she's using the Sonic a bit because that's the other thing that I've noticed as well. She already, the 13th Doctor is using that Sonic a lot. And I'm slightly worried we're going down that Matt Smith problem. Really, because it used to really bug me how much the 11th Doctor used to swing his Sonic around every 5 minutes. It got overused. And for me, I think we're going down the same route a little bit. She was wielding it around throughout pretty much the whole episode, wasn't she, that Sonic? And I think that's how I don't know, I might be wrong, mate. I think that's how she discovered the microbes, wasn't it? Wasn't the Sonic waving around at some point? She was like, oh, yes, I'm picking it all up. And I don't know, did you think that? Especially on the second watch, I was like, she is wielding that Sonic around all the time,
a wee bit. Yeah.
It's just just reminded me a bit too much of how the 11th Doctor used to do that, but we shall see.
We shall. Yes. So what about the toilet roll monsters then? Because they were the only things that provided somewhat of a threat. And I quite like the idea of what's happened on the planet. So that was a cool little backstory for it. So the Stenza had essentially cleaned the planet out of life and had forced a load of the scientists to create these monsters. What are they called? The remnants.
The remnants, great name.
Yeah. So they had forced them to create these creatures, these remnants. So that part of it I quite liked, that little backstory about the planet and just reinforcing what looks like is going to be an ongoing thing, this Stenza.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was okay. I didn't mind that. That was fairly good. But the scenes with those we only had 2 decent scenes, really. The first one was when, what was his name? Ep206. Ep206 was getting suffocated by it.
Yeah.
And they heard him screaming and they rescued him fairly quickly. So that was kind of cool. And then the other scene is when they get sort of confronted out in the desert. They get surrounded by all of them.
That looked great.
That was cool, yeah. And they used this kind of concept, didn't they, where the remnants used their own sort of fears against them. They was able to pick up on their innate sort of fears and scare the crap out of them, essentially.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. It just didn't last long enough. And now,
that's what I meant about Chibber's writing. Yeah, I mean, because I think they were a great creepy idea, especially that scene where Ep206 was getting suffocated was brilliantly horrific. I mean, there was a proper Who moment that. They should have been used to more effect, I think, because the what's name bots were useless. They may as well have not been there. Whereas these had a real threat to them and a real creepiness to them. Yes. So they should have used them more. I get they only come out at night, but
come out at night. Mostly. When we had that
would have been funny if they'd talked like that, wouldn't it? I see you. Turn into Wheels of Gummidge.
What's
Cupertina's fast cake.
What did you think? Because we had this new reference to the Doctor that we've not heard before. I don't think, anyway. So the remnants call the Doctor the Timeless Child.
The Timeless Child, yeah.
Which I really like. But what did you reckon to that?
Yeah, I really liked it, but I didn't get, because I sort of had to watch it again. I was thinking, right, what's he actually saying? Because I couldn't work out if he was calling the Doctor the Timeless Child or if he was saying something like the Timeless Child is coming, or I wasn't sure what the Timeless Child thing was all about, but I like that. I hope we pick up on it again. I hope it's a little thread. I hope it's a little sort of Bad Wolf type thing.
Maybe,
Yeah. Yeah, but do you think he's calling the Doctor the Timeless Child?
I think so, yeah.
Right,
because I think what they're doing is I have no idea how, but they've obviously got some kind of psychic power, if you like, that they can look into someone's history, and from that history they can then draw out all the things that they're scared of and stuff. So I think they've gone back, they've looked at the Doctor's history, which must be, I can't believe it took them a split second, because of everybody in that group. The Doctor's probably got tons of stuff to go through. But so I think they are referencing the Doctor in their history.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I just like the way
the Timeless Child. Yeah, I like it as well. I don't know if it will just be a throwaway thing if we'll never reference it again, but I hope we do. I hope there's a little bit more to it.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting as well. It was one of those moments that brought my attention up, because I was starting to drift off a little bit, and I was like, oh, what was that? Timeless Child? So it was a good little moment.
Yes, it was. And I hope they do reference it again or use it in some way.
Yeah.
Like you said, a little bad wolf thing or Mabes. Mabes. So the toilet roll monsters, I think if they were set up at the beginning of the story and they were the ones that were chasing them across the planet, that would have been cool. They were okay, just needed more of them, really. Well,
because I think by the time we realised what they were, we'd only just got to know about the threat, and then they were taken out. If we'd have seen them at the beginning, maybe if the episode if we'd have had a couple of nights on the planet, so we could see these things slithering about, what was that? And we sort of got the feeling that while they're on that boat, something was following them or after them. That would have added a little bit more tension to the episode. It's like, oh, whatever that thing is catching up with them. But we didn't get any of that, did we? We literally didn't really know about them until Ep2 decided to have a nap, and then suddenly they were sort of introduced. But yeah, it would have been much better if they'd have been introduced sooner, I think.
Yeah, there was a little bit of exposition earlier on where you saw like some cloth wrapped around something and it was flapping in the wind.
Yeah, around the tree,
or something like that.
But it didn't. We didn't know what it was. It was I thought it was just somebody died and a bit of their clothing.
That's what I thought.
It could have been anything, Yeah. So they should have been used more, I think.
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah.
The sniper bots were bloody useless. I think we've
absolutely rubbish.
Do you know what that whole section could have done with just not being in there? It just didn't provide any. It didn't move the story forward in any way. And
it was filler.
It was filler, absolutely. And it was just a little comedic moment for Ryan just to, he's got that little grin on his face.
Call of Duty
thing.
Now, what did you think of that scene? Because a lot of people didn't like it. They thought it was ridiculous.
It's a bit of a contradiction in terms for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole thing with Ryan is that he's got this dyspraxia thing.
Yeah.
Which means that his coordination is not on. But yet, he's out there perfectly shooting.
Oh, that's a good. I never even thought of that.
Do you know what I mean? He's
I hadn't
out there
thought about that. Yeah,
running around and shooting at the same time and all that stuff. You wouldn't associate somebody who can't ride a bike and can't coordinate with somebody that can jump and run around. And so it felt a little bit that whole thing, that whole scene, just was not needed. I don't think in terms of story or character stuff, and the way the Doctor. The whole EMP thing, what was it, electromagnetic pulse, or whatever it was that took them all out. That was just a snap of the fingers. All right, that threat's gone now, as we were.
Yeah.
Get your lunch boxes, we're on.
I still don't know what she did, even on the second watch. Was it the Sonic she's pressing or what?
I don't know.
I still don't know. You don't know? Okay, I thought it was just me being in a Wally. Even on the second watch, I was like, was she actually pressing? Is it the Sonic? I still don't know what she did in that scene. I don't know how she did that, but anyway, I
don't know, man.
But I agree with you, it was filler. It was just another bit of chase, and another bit of endless chasing, running scene, and then that it didn't add anything to the story.
No, which is a shame, because they could have used that time to give us a few little toilet rolls slithering around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Toilet roll.
Like out the corner if you are, like. What was that?
What was that? Yeah, exactly. See, moments like that would have really brought this episode up. Yeah.
It's a bit like when R2-D2's going through. I'll tell you what this story was. This story was essentially pitch black, set on Tatooine with stormtroopers.
Yeah.
You think about when R2-D2's he's gone off. C-3PO's gone the other way in the desert. He's gone another way, and he's just slowly trotting down that bit. And you know the little Jawas are there, so
yeah.
So as he's going down, you see a few rocks fall down. You're like, oh, something's there. What's that?
Yeah.
You know, and then they could have had that kind of build up, couldn't they?
Absolutely.
With stuff going on. But so this is what we say all the time. Just get in contact and we'll tell you. We'll let you know how to do it.
Come out and have a pint with us, Chris, and we'll iron all these little things out.
Yeah. What will happen is Chibbles will be like, right, we'll do that then. Right, Gary and Adam, come and advise on what this story should be. We'll do that. And it'll be like the worst story that's ever gone out with the worst ratings. We'll be like,
ratings plummet to 0.1 million.
Right, so monsters and stuff, not really threatening, could have been more.
Yeah.
What did you think to the chemistry then between the characters? Because at the end of The Woman Who Fell to Earth, we had the very long, all of the guest stars that are going to be appearing throughout the series.
Yeah.
And I think they did show Sean Dooley. I'm pretty sure they did. He was one of the people that was going to be upcoming.
So. Yeah,
I don't think they showed Susan Lynch though, who played Angstrom. I don't think was she in it? I can't remember. I definitely remember seeing Sean Dooley though.
I honestly can't remember. My gut feeling is she probably was there, but I can't remember her there. But anyway,
maybe I don't know. So, in terms of sort of performances, because they obviously they are competing against each other, and there was like you said, Chibnall's good at writing characters, so there was a very good contrast between the two. You can see that Ep206's motivation for doing it is just for bragging rights. Essentially, he just wants to be. You know, he wants to prove himself as, you know, the person that won the race and all that stuff. Whereas Angstrom, she's more of she doesn't really care about the sort of trophy polishing at the end of it. She just wants to make sure that her family is taken care of and safe because they're in potential danger. Because going back to the Stenza thing again, the planet that she's from has been sort of overrun by the Stenza, and you know it's not a good time at all. So I really like the contrast between those characters. They could have been very similar. You know, they could have just been, you know, we want her in the race.
Yeah.
But we don't know why. We've just been written that way. Just, you know, so there was a nice backstory there between the two of them. Did you like the chemistry between those two? It was very
I did as well.
Sassy at times.
Yeah, no, I liked it because there was a sort of tension between them, but it didn't go down that predictable route of squabbling. So they had their differences, but they were written better than that. So there was a tension between them, but they also slightly liked each other, didn't they? So there was a there was a rivalry, and you know they annoyed the hell out of each other, but there was also a slight respect for the other one. So they were quite rounded. It wasn't just two squabbling aliens, you know, man and woman squabble. Hey, I'm better than you, and all that sort of stuff. That's what I mean. He's good at writing characters, Chibnall, because they were much more rounded than that. And I actually really liked them. I was worried at the start that Angstrom was going to be annoying because I think she says when the spaceship's blowing up, whatever it's doing, when she's talking to Graham and that, she's quite sort of she was a bit lippy, wasn't she, at the very beginning. I thought, oh no, is she going to be one of these annoying, mouthy? But she wasn't actually. Apart from that scene, she actually, you know, I really grew to that. And the same with Ep206, actually. I thought he was going to be that sort of typical, you know, stereotypical, annoying, I'm a bit of a geezer, you know, but I really warmed to both of them. I really liked him, and I like the interaction between the two as well. Yeah, it was good. Again, I think you could have played up a little bit more on the rivalry side of it, but no, I like both of them, and I thought performance-wise from those guys, so Sean Dooley's Ep206, I thought was a nice performance, and Susan Lynch as Angstrom. Am I saying that right? Angstrom?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought both of them really gave a great performance, and I would have quite happily seen a bit more of them. You know, if they were to come back into it at some point, I wouldn't mind. I thought they were quite strong. I thought there was a bit more there to learn from them as well. So yeah, I thought they were good, both of those guys.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought it got just to reference them in terms of story again. I thought the story got off to a cracking start. You know, when they find themselves on separate ships, and that whole crash landing thing, and the way it looked was just amazing, and the way that they played up to it. And the companions obviously really scared. So they haven't got to that Clara point yet where every threat in the universe is just what was that? What was that? Let's sneeze over there. Oh, it's just a planet exploding. Oh, yeah, whatever. We haven't got to that, level of selfish, whatever. So, so they're really scared. I don't know what the hell's, especially Yasmin. She's freaking out a little bit. So the whole setup, that whole bit where, we're in space, especially Graham, he's really funny. So the way that they act with that opening sequence, I think that's a really good way to get them into the story. There isn't this whole backstory where we see them starting off the race, however many days or weeks or months before that. We actually kick off right in the middle of what's going on. They've scooped them up, and I thought that was also cool that they scooped them up not to save their lives, but because that acts as like an extra bonus.
So I like that
at the end of the race. So there's a little bit of cutthroat, sort of mercenary kind of style going on, which is really cool. So in terms of characters, like you said earlier, Chibbers is good at, he's a bit like Russell, isn't he? He's very good at creating these nicely fleshed out characters, but you don't need to spend loads of episodes to get to know them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought they were cool. I like the chemistry between them, and I like the chemistry with the TARDIS team as well. It's really cool. Obviously, the Doctor shuts Ep2 up pretty quick with the old Venusian.
Yeah, Kido.
The when she paralyzes him with one finger or one thumb, whatever it was. Did you like the mention of the Venusian, the Pertwee-esque kind of?
Yeah, I liked that. Again, it was a bit, like RTD used to do, just threw in a little, nothing too heavy in terms of continuity, just a nice little nod there,
little nugget
to the classic series, if you so wanted to take it. So yeah, I did like that bit. Yeah.
What did you think to the guy in the tent then? I think his character name, was it Lynn or Ilm?
I think it was Lynn. I don't know. I didn't catch it. In fact, it took me a while to catch anyone's name in this, to be fair, but I don't know what his name was, but Art Malik is the actor, isn't he? Who I've seen in a few things. So he was good, wasn't he? Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again. We probably won't, because he's quite a big actor, isn't he? But he was great for that part.
He was. Yeah,
absolutely played it, and he played it nice and straight down the line as well. That sort of nice mix of evil but not too panto, wasn't he? He was just, I thought he was really good. Yeah,
he was. He did have that. That sort of suave, very self-assured thing going on, but you could tell that his motives were purely because he obviously doesn't care at all about Angstrom's family or anything like that. All he's interested in is like the glory of the race kind of thing, and he sort of loves it all. So I thought he had a great performance, but that the whole idea of everything being a hologram as well, that was interesting.
Yeah, I like the little line about the nose hair. She's like, this is really good. I thought that was good. But I know what you mean about his character as well, because it's great at the end when they're like when they finally get to the end of the race and Ep2 and Angstrom are like, what about these guys? Are you going to take them with you? And he's like, no. And he clicks his fingers. You just get his character straight away. Yeah, he's just going to leave them there. So not a very nice person, but a good performance,
Yeah, needed for the story as well.
Oh, definitely.
I would say. Yeah. That's good. Okay, and then, right, so gone through story, characters and stuff. Let's talk about, before we get on to characters, let's talk about the other big thing in the story then, which was the TARDIS reveal.
Yeah.
So the outside we've seen many times before, this new, slightly different version of blue, if you like. They've ditched the St. John's Ambulance badge.
Yeah.
That's gone. And
the door panel is black.
Yeah, it's now
on the other side. Not on the other side, but the handle's on the other side. Yeah.
Yes. Do you like the outside? Because I love the outside. I think it's great.
I do. I must admit, when it's first unveiled, I was that door handle being on the left for some reason really irritating. I was just like, no, but no, I've really grown to absolutely love the look of it. It's weird. I think I said it before. I didn't, because I hate the Colin Baker era colour of TARDIS. That dark. This is quite. Well, I wouldn't say similar, but it's going down that route, isn't it, of being a darker blue?
Yeah.
But it just looks really good. I have to say, I love the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, and the white text on the black sign.
Yeah, I like that.
To the old Tom Baker TARDIS from.
And Pertwee-esque, It looks metal as well. It looks like a metal, because there's sort of 3D lettering, isn't it? So
yeah,
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the interior then. So
I'm not sold on it yet.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of this one, buddy.
No,
not
it's
at all.
Very, very messy.
I think we need to see a bit more of it as well.
I think it could be one that grows on me. It could be one that I look, because actually, if you just refresh the Doctor Who news page that we look at, they've just put some new photos on, literally just as we've recorded, of the TARDIS interior. And I mean, if you look at these photos, it looks beautiful. There is one sort of shot looking down on the console with the floor around it. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes. Yep.
And it's all sort of lit up with orange lighting stuff. That looks lovely, but it is a very messy steampunk organic TARDIS. I can totally see where they're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sold on it yet. I need to see it more. And it was a bit dark as well. And I think a few people have said this. I texted you, didn't I, straight away saying, I hope she finds the light switch next week. Because it is a bit too dark for me. I think what they're trying to go for is that sort of McGann TARDIS, dark, gothic-y feel. But for me, they haven't quite got it right. I still don't know how I feel about the TARDIS box being inside it as well. You know, like, you've got like that sort of, the entrance is the actual 3D TARDIS box. I still don't know if I quite like that or not. It's not 100% working for me, mate. You've got that weird TARDIS crystal on the console as well. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Yeah, it spins around, doesn't it? Yeah.
I don't know. It's just too messy for me. It just feels like there's bits everywhere, and even the walls feel disjointed, and you've got these weird crystal things going over, and I don't know. There are bits of it I like, and some of the colours and that in it are beautiful, but it's just too messy for me personally. I don't like all the, all that, like there's pipes and stuff underneath the console. It looks like a sort of kitchen sink. I think Bill referred to it as that. It does, doesn't it? It's got like pipes and wires, and I don't know. And then you've got the custard cream dispenser, which again is a bit Matt Smith in it with his jammy Dodgers. Now it's custard creams.
That's cool, though. Yeah.
I don't know.
The custard cream dispenser. I like that.
Yeah. I think it's okay. I'm just not 100% sold on it yet.
I see what you mean, mate. It's
What do you think? Because I know you weren't impressed. You texted me and you were like, no, you didn't. It's not doing it for you.
Yeah. It's a real shame for me because I wanted to. I thought this was going to be like the best console or an interior that we've seen so far. I thought they were really going to go. And don't get me wrong, it's not that. Well, the biggest problem for me is that it feels like a cross between Eccleston's interior and the McGann interior.
Yeah, but smaller. It feels quite small.
It's very small, and it's just too dark as well. That's my biggest problem.
Yeah,
the whole thing, you can't appreciate it because I know they're going for that atmospheric feel, and every TARDIS is different, and you appreciate that. And like the bits you said about the walls, they don't connect and stuff. There is a video on YouTube on the official Doctor Who channel where the new production designer takes you through the design of the TARDIS and walks you around it and explains why those things are there and all that. So that it gives you a bit more of an eye opener there. And when he's walking around the set, it's lit a lot differently as well. You can see it. It's a lot clearer. But I don't know. It just feels really small and dark, and I'm not really a fan of those round things that they've got around the walls. The interconnecting things that you mentioned.
They look like the key to time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the console itself, it's okay, but it's really, I don't know. It don't get me wrong. It feels like Doctor Who. It's got all the little bits on it, the quirkiness, and you can imagine Jodie running around it and flipping lots of different switches and turning things and all that. It feels like Doctor Who for sure, but I just can't get into it, mate. I don't know what it is. And the central column we don't have the perfectly symmetrical.
No, it's a crystal, isn't it?
Now it's this. I don't know if that crystal's stationary either, whether it moves up and down or not. I really have no idea. But
we didn't see it move in the episode, but I think it moved in the little behind the scenes bit. But I'm not sure. Right. I'm not sure. Yeah. Again, I think the more I see it, the more we'll get to know it and get to like it. Hopefully, the biggest issue for me is the fact it was so dark. I really just wanted them to flick the lights up just a bit. I wanted to see it more. It felt to me. it feels more like this would be the Master's TARDIS.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? If they said, "Oh, this is Mrs. TARDIS" or the Master's TARDIS, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's totally." It's dark and moody, and I can totally see the Master living in it. I'm just not. Yeah, I just wanted them to turn the lights up a little bit.
Yeah,
and I think it will grow on me. But yeah, I'm with you, mate. I'm not sold on it yet.
Feels a bit claustrophobic.
It really feels. It feels small and it feels dark and it feels so fragmented as well. Like nothing seems to flow in it. It's as if like they've obviously done this on purpose. But even the walls are different. Each wall, like you've got that sort of like the bit you said, like the clockwork or whatever it is wall, and then you've got like another wall with some hexagonal bits on it, and then
the
you've
blue
got
lights,
the blue lights, and then I don't know. It just all feels like it's just been cobbled together, which, as I said, is intentional, but. I don't know. It just feels a bit messy to me.
Yeah, nice little props on the console. They like the hourglass that she turned upside down.
I like the hourglass, yeah.
And the old 50s looking studio mic and stuff. There's some nice little bits there. And you didn't see it in the episode, but around the floor area, they've got this nicely lit little Gallifreyan symbols that go around the perimeter of the little floor bit that they stand on. You didn't see that in the episode though, but so not doing it for us, I would say. I hope in this week's episode coming up that we get a shot from the top, because I've got a feeling this set will look great looking down on it, like like you said about the floor and all the crystals. Maybe we just haven't seen it at its best yet, and that could be Chibnall holding off a little bit more. He's given us a glimpse, but yeah, I hope we get to see more of it, and hopefully it's is shot from a different angle, because I just need to see it in a different light, really. No, I agree, mate. Absolutely.
In every sense of the word.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the TARDIS team then?
Yeah.
So Ryan and Yasmin. So last week it was very, very focused on those guys, especially Ryan. Not so much this week, even more so for Yasmin. I thought that Ryan still got a little bit more of the lion's share.
He did.
So maybe they're just saving it up for maybe a more Yasmin-focused episode coming up. But still fantastic performances from those two, though. I'm
still really liking them. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought we'd get to know Yasmin a little bit better this week, but we didn't really. There was a couple of lines about her family when she said something about her dad driving her mad and her sister wanting her to move out so she could have a room. So tiny little bit of backstory there, but that was about it. I thought Tosin Cole was good as Ryan. I slightly picked up on the accent thing this week. You were saying last week about him struggling to do that
at times,
accent. But I noticed it a little bit this week, but I don't really mind that. I thought he was good. I thought it was quite, that scene where he was shooting the things was sort of ridiculous, but it was quite a comedy moment for him, so I liked him. I do like the scene between him and Graham as well, when he was saying about we don't talk about your mum since it happened, and he said you talk about it too much, and he's like, you don't talk about it enough, and there's still that going on, and there's all this stuff about him calling him granddad as well. It's just, it is starting to feel a little bit forced, and I know no, just in the sense of, I know our good friend Martin Badwilf has said he's convinced it's so that the reason Graham keeps asking him to call him granddad is because he's convinced that Graham's going to die, and that on the last, just as he's dying, he'll finally call him granddad. And I can't help but feel he might be onto something there, and I hope Graham doesn't die, but it does seem odd. Like, I don't know, why is he so? Why does he keep going on about the granddad thing? It's just like. Yeah, but I thought it was a nice scene. That aside, I thought it was a lovely scene between those two again, and I think they do work really well. But I'm still really liking our TARDIS team. Just moving on to Bradley, if I can. For me, kind of stole the episode a bit. I thought he was great. Yeah, I thought he was great. He's really shining as Graham. I really, really like him. He feels the most natural actor out of all of them. His performance is the most real, I feel. So for me, he was the best one in it. I thought. I really, really am liking Graham. He's funny. He's good when he needs to be serious, like at the start when he was saying to Angstrom, you better go and pick those other two up. They're our friends. He's very good at the serious and comedy side, Bradley. So for me, he's the one. I like all three of them, but for me, he's the one that I'm liking the best at the minute out of our new TARDIS team. I want to know where the Doctor got those shades from, though.
Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, but she crash landed in Capaldi's jacket.
I know.
She didn't have anything in the pockets. She gets a new jacket. She hasn't got a TARDIS yet. So where does she get Audrey Hepburn's shades from?
I know, mate.
It's a bit, yeah. Anyway, a very minor point, but he did rock those shades. He looked good in them. He suited them.
He did in a weird way.
In a weird way.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, mate. Graham, Bradley Walsh is definitely, for me, is the one that has settled into the flow, the rhythm, the easiest. I would say he's just a bit like with Sarah Jane.
Wilf.
No,
Donna.
No, Sarah Jane, the lady that plays Sarah Jane.
Elizabeth Sladen.
There we go. Forgotten the
okay.
Yeah. A bit like Liz Sladen, just completely consistent every single time she's on screen. I've got that vibe with him, that same as when I watch Sarah Jane.
Okay, right.
Just that sort of, because he's like an older character and he's supposed to have a bit more wisdom and that stuff. You can tell that he's got that maturer vibe about him.
I love him. He reminds me of Wilf. He just reminds me of that. He's that likable, slightly crotchety. I don't know. I'm really liking him.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's great. And what about Jodie then? So, because a concern that you had last week was she was a little bit zany too often. She was constantly cracking one-liners and all over the place and stuff. And in a way, like we said with the story, you can kind of forgive that in a way because she's like post-regeneration. So a lot of doctors are a little bit, crazy, so to speak. In this one, though, she should be settled down now. She's fully regenerated and she is the Doctor and all that stuff. So same vibe for you, or do you feel she's better in this one in terms of zaniness and stuff?
No, I think actually she hasn't settled down as much as I'd hoped, in all honesty. I'm still really liking her as the Doctor, but she was still a little... I found her slightly irritating in the first 10 minutes. Only a little bit.
Right.
It's just because she's talking. It's not her fault, actually. It's nothing to do with Jodie. It's more the script. She just was talking at 100 miles an hour. And I suppose the best way I can describe it is I almost feel like she's trying just 10% too hard.
I see.
I just prefer it like later in the second half of the episode when she just calms down a bit and, sort of just isn't just sort of throwing all this dialogue out at 100 miles an hour and being all zany and crazy. And, it's obviously the way she's been directed. It's the way she's been written. She's as being ultra high energy. And I just prefer it when she tones it down more. So for me, she was much better in the second half of the episode because she didn't irritate me. That's the wrong thing to say, but I just liked it better when she was just calmer. Like when the guy's telling the story about his mum not catching him, and she's like, Ep2, your mum was wrong, and all that. And she, when she's being serious, she's a really good actress. But I'm not quite sure she's nailed the whole, doing all the sort of techno babble, and she's just a bit too high octane at times for me so far.
Okay.
Personally, I'm still really liking her, but I just wish she'd just bring it down just 10%. Because when she does, I think she's great. Like the end of the episode, I thought she was fantastic. All the stuff with the TARDIS. So it's quite, it's quite emotional when she first sees the TARDIS and she's talking to it. I mean, that's that's quite hard. It's awesome. It's an object. Yeah. So to actually make those scenes, work as well as they did. She is a great actress. I just like it when she's at that level, right, rather than being all this like, the beginning scene when she was talking to Art Malik's character in the tent, and she was just, my God, the dialogue was so fast I could hardly keep up what she was saying. It was just, line and gag and line and techno after so much to take in. And I think it's more down to the way they've written her, and I think they've told her like, she's sort of trying to be this high octane Doctor all the time, and I just prefer it when she's calmer, because I think that she's she just hasn't quite settled into her Doctor as much as I'd hoped by episode 2 yet, for me personally. Do you know what I mean? Right. Still loving her, but I just want to see her more I want to see a bit more gravitas in a performance. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen like that a moment yet when I've been like, yes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I hope you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, like sometimes Tennant would just, in the middle of everything, just like the ground would stop and you'd be like, oh my God, he is so the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite had that moment with Jodie yet. And we're only in episode 2, still plenty of time, but I just haven't quite had that moment yet of thinking she is absolutely nailing this.
I read you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean in terms of her being a bit high octane a lot of the time. I think that's down to just how Jodie wants to play the Doctor. I think she's just one of these she wants to be a real energetic, full of life and energy, kind of Doctors. It's like she's got like a Matt Smith kind of vibe to her.
A little bit, but Matt I felt like Matt felt like the Doctor right from the 11th hour. I really I don't know, he felt like the Doctor.
He did, yeah.
Jodie reminds me of McCoy. Jodie reminds me of when McCoy took over as the Doctor, and he was just, he was the Doctor, but he just was a little bit too much of the high octane comedy stuff. And series 2 he settled down, and by series 3 he was fantastic. I absolutely love McCoy's Doctor. But when I go back and watch his first series and a little bit of the second, but mainly the first sort of McCoy era series, I mean, he's just a little bit too OTT, and she's reminded me of that in her performance. So I love her as the Doctor, but she's just a little bit OTT at times, and I just prefer it when she calms down.
Do you know what, mate? You're bang on the money with that. You're absolutely correct. Because I've watched the McCoy era plenty over the last year. I've watched loads of McCoy era over the last year, and you're absolutely right. In that first series, especially, he's he doesn't feel like the Doctor he is in his third series.
Yeah, it's like you love him as the Doctor, but he's not quite got there yet.
Yeah. So I think, there are shades of that there where she's going for it and she's brilliant. Her performance, you can't really fault it, because I think some of it, as you said, is down to the script a little bit. So in terms of Jodie putting herself into it, you can't fault her for that. She's properly going for it, and she's...
She didn't lead it for me enough. I think someone said she looked like she's getting a bit lost with all her companions. To a certain extent, I agree with that. I didn't feel like she was leading the episode like the Doctor should until sort of that last sort of 10 minutes, really.
Yeah, we had that a lot with Capaldi.
A lot, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where he'd have these little flashing moments of brilliance where you think, crikey, he is the Doctor, like you said, and he's in control and stuff. And I do agree with you, because a big part of me thinks that she's brilliant as the Doctor, and she's so good, and the way she's playing it is awesome. But I think do you know what, mate? It might be Chibbers, because she was like this in the last week's episode, where she's very zany and, crazy for
high octane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this comes down to the story as a whole as well. I think from next week, because we said last week, didn't we? We said from next week, I think we're going to see this. But I truly believe that. I think these first 2 stories that have been written by Chibbers are potentially not going to be, well, I know for a fact they're not going to be the strongest out of Jodie's era.
Yeah.
Probably this series as well. So I think from next week will be another one of those true tests where we get another writer on who's done the business on it. And although Chibbers has overseen it, we'll have to see what happens, because we had this with Moff, didn't we, where some of his episodes he wrote were brilliant for the RTD era, but when he was showrunner, some of those stories weren't exactly cutting the mustard. And when other writers were brought on board, you could see that they really wanted to be great, but the Moff just kind of had his fingers in a few pies.
That's right, yeah. So he would always be hovering around.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, whether Chibbers gives these other writers complete full reign to do whatever they want to an extent within reason, and really go for it, or whether he's going to be sort of there overseeing, looking over the shoulder like, well, I wouldn't write that like that if I were you. And I'd change that bit if I were you. Let's just see what happens. But I think that Chibbers has done a fantastic job of getting everything rocking and rolling.
Definitely, yeah.
It's just a case of his writing potentially isn't as good as some of the other writers will get to see, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey for sure.
Yes. Anything you want to mention before we do our scores?
Only that I love the fact that they reference the green police box. That is a real thing.
Oh, a real thing. Yeah.
Now I assume it's in Sheffield.
It is.
There's this strange old green police box. Still on the streets, and we believe in Sheffield. And it did get a little mention in this as a throwaway line, but I thought that was a nice touch. I liked that. But apart from that, I think I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say. Just looking at my notes. Yeah.
The last thing for me, very quickly, is I wanted to hear more of the cool music that we heard in episode 1. Because I think in episode 1 it was full of music, and it had various types of themes, especially Jodie's theme. We heard that a little bit in this one, but not quite as much as we did in the first one. So in this one, I thought the music was nice. It was not too intrusive like some of Murray's music tended to be. But I just really fell in love with the various different themes that we heard in the first episode. And I assumed that they would carry over and we'd hear them in this one, but I just don't remember hearing them as much as I did in the first one. But otherwise, it was still music was still decent. Yeah,
I was going to say, I know what you're saying. It was slightly more in the background this week. I'm still hoping we get a soundtrack though. I'm loving the instrumental music in this. Yeah. In so far. Yeah.
Whose turn is it to go first?
I think it's me, isn't it? I think it's me this week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I believe. It's quite an easy one for me this week. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
7, because I thought it was a decent story and production-wise very good and all that. It just didn't reach the levels that I think it could have. So a 7 for decent.
For decent,
but not amazing.
That is a snap for me as well.
Is it really? Okay, interesting.
7 for me. Yeah. Just exactly the same reason as you, buddy. It's just it's one of those stories where in there somewhere is a belter of a story.
Yeah.
It's just obscured by other stuff, interference stuff, but yeah. 7s. Right, what did our listeners think? We had a few people comment and send in clips, etc. Let's go straight in with an audio clip. This is Sammy Satine.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. So, the Ghost Monument. I like the new TARDIS interior, the Venusian Aikido, and the new opening titles. Aside from that, this was same old, same old. We've seen this before and done it in a way that feels less tired. I can muster up more enthusiasm for the Monk trilogy from last series that I got bored of than I can for this. Heck, even in The Forest of the Night, one of the most pointless episodes of Doctor Who ever at least tried to do something different, this does the same stuff we've seen before, just it looks prettier. I give it 5 new TARDIS interiors out of 10. Here's hoping the next episode is better. See ya.
Oh dear, Sammy not impressed. I do kind of agree with her, actually. I do.
A wee bit.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, Sammy.
Let's have a look over on Twitter. Raven Muse says, looks fantastic. The episode was action-packed, and obviously the budget is huge. Which it looks like the budget's big.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yes. And he goes on to say, it looked like a lot of effort is being put into it, not just financially. Sitting down to watch it feels like an event again. But that part is true.
Yeah.
Our writer, Jordan Shortman, says, as a whole was great. The effects are amazing, and it kind of felt like Keys of Marinus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Love the outside of the TARDIS, but I must admit I'm not keen on the inside. It could have done with being a bit brighter, but bring on next week. He also says the cinematography and effects were stunning. The bit where the spaceship crashed on the planet chasing after Bradley and Ryan was amazing. And the location work has been beautiful too.
Yes.
Doctor Who Thing.
Doctor Who Thing.
Says, if they could have sat in the night section for 15 minutes or more, rather than felt like a 2 minutes, it would have been nice. Didn't feel spooky enough.
Yes.
Yes. John Winston Scott says, it felt a bit like a Hartnell vibe about the whole quest with this one, which was nice. Rotide says, I personally didn't like it. And when when I saw clips of it online, I just thought they were a bit, but apart from that, it was pretty good, very atmospheric and cool. And most importantly, it looked good.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did look good.
Let's have a look. Natalie Harris says, I'm sorry to say that it was pretty awful. The writing is terrible. Come to daddy, I mean mummy. And none of the companions are engaging or funny. I'm hoping Jodie Whittaker stops asking questions and acting so bloody confused. She's meant to be the Doctor.
Well, okay, that's kind of what I was alluding to when I said she hasn't quite got into the Doctor mode for me. So I do want to see her a bit more in charge rather than looking a little bit lost. Yes. So I do know what you mean there.
Yes. Darren Cult Dissection said it was great, very much a character piece once again, fleshing out the characters for the remainder of the series. The epicness was there, the TARDIS was fantastic, and the title sequence is one of the best ever. Sorry, I read out the wrong review from Rotide earlier. They say that they loved the episode. The episode didn't really have a plot, but it was more of a fight for survival for the characters. Let's have a look. The Green Korean one says, everything about the series is lush and beautiful, except where it matters the most. The plot. I'm enjoying the show, but not as much as I hoped I would. Craig Matthew says, I found it boring. Was looking at the clock halfway through. Didn't feel the threat of the floating bandages was credible. Although enjoyed performances of the main cast, particularly Graham, who is becoming my favourite, Jodie was solid, but still need to see more. 5.5.
Floating bandages. I like it.
I'm going to pick out just a couple more. Let's have a look. Time Lord 0902 says, visually stunning, but story is once again lackluster. Not thrilled with Graham Ryan or Inside the TARDIS. Jodie reminds me too much of Tennant. Hopefully she can put her own stamp on the character. On the plus side, the opening theme has a nice classic Who feel.
Now that's a good point. Put her own stamp on it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Jodie's stamp is yet. That's a very good point.
Yeah. And lastly on Twitter, Awesome Jess says, I really liked it, but there were things that bugged me. Water full of nasty microbes, but yet they ran through wet tunnels with no concern.
That's a good point.
Visually, it was great and enjoying getting to know the team a little more. 7 out of 10. Before Facebook, let's do our second audio clip. This is Martin Arnold.
Hello. Episode 2, brilliant. I don't know what else I need to say for the next 50 seconds of this review. That was brilliant. The first episode was brilliant. This season is so far 2 for 2. I love the title sequence. I actually wish it could be a little bit longer because I'm loving the psychedelic feel. I thought the production was absolutely spot on. The choice of shots, the visuals were fantastic. I thought the story worked really well. Pacing was superb. I felt it didn't outstay its welcome. It wasn't too underwhelming or too esoteric or weird. And the payoff with the TARDIS was absolutely spot on. I love the design. It looks really different, really alien. This is just fantastic. I'm absolutely blown away by what they've done so far, and I really hope it continues. 10 out of 10. Thanks very much.
Wow.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad 10 out of 10. Glad you enjoyed it, mate.
Nice, buddy. Over on Facebook.
He's probably switched off our review by now. He's thrown the cassette player at the wall.
Yeah. Over on Facebook, Leslie Shergold said, really enjoyed it. Better than the opener. I gave that a 7, so I better give this an 8.
Oh.
Loved the McGann Big Finish theme music. Although the visuals were a little too busy, the whole episode just looks beautiful. Whatever shiny new camera is being used, they did a splendid job. I haven't got time to read through all of these. Lawrence Baxter, hello from Prague.
Hello.
Enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a strong second episode and looked great. Tense in places, funny at times. And lots of questions thrown up, like the timeless child comment. It goes on to give it 7 flying cloths out of 10. Jeff Waddle, who's been a tough critic in previous years.
He's a tough nut to crack.
Quite liked last week. This week, he says, I'm surprised how much I liked this, especially given the mixed response I've seen. A good, straightforward story. The show has never looked better, and the theme is the best since it came back. Sinister villains, and the TARDIS looks great. Jodie and Bradley steal the show again. Don't know why I ever doubted she'd make a good Doctor. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Jeff loving it. Yeah. Joseph Howarth, really enjoyed the episode. Jodie is really growing on me, and I've only seen her for 2 episodes. Really feel like the TARDIS crew, particularly Bradley Walsh's character, and liking the new TARDIS interior. 8 out of 10. Miles McKenzie, I loved it. A great continuation from last week's, although maybe some pacing issues in the middle. I do feel Jodie was being a bit too dramatic with the Sonic, with the massive sorter arm actions she did when going to point it. But apart from that, I really enjoyed her performance, as well as the rest of the cast. Goes on to give it an 8.5. Lewis Palmer really dug this one, getting a mixed response from fans, but for me, everything about it just worked. The opening 10 minutes with long, unbroken tracking shots and beautiful landscapes was breathtaking. And it's undeniably the best-looking Doctor Who ever made. The plot felt very classic and was reminiscent of stories like Enlightenment. It was a proper adventure, taking us to a wide variety of locations. It goes on to give it a 7.5. And lastly, Jason Thayer. I wasn't expecting the TARDIS this quickly. I like the new opening and the new interior. The story was pretty good too. A 7 out of 10.
7. Another 7.
Thank you very much, guys. I haven't got time to read them all out because some of you left quite long reviews, but thank you so much for those. Did you have anything on the Geeks Handbag?
Oh, I did. I had a massive response on Geeks Handbag. I haven't got time to read them out because I had literally 40 plus comments. So all I'll say is that I do enjoy reading them all. So keep posting on there. But it was a very mixed response I got. I would say the majority of people on Geeks Handbag really enjoyed it. Most of the comments I got, about 80%, really loved it. About 20% were unsure. And about 10% said it was boring. So it was a real mixed response to this one.
Right.
Yeah, it was mostly sort of getting sort of anywhere between 7 to 9 out of 10 out on Geeks Handbag. So
yeah, I think compared to last week, that got on a sort of majority, really high score.
Yeah,
this one is good, like you said, but just not quite as good as last week in terms of scores, anyway.
Exactly. It didn't quite get that reaction of last week.
Righto. Yeah, as Adam said, we do read all of the reviews. And
oh, yeah, I love reading them.
You go through and I like all of them and stuff. And we do read them. It's just that, time and stuff. But anyways, next week, we're continuing, aren't we, with Series 11, obviously. What's next week, dude? It's
Rosa
Parks.
Rosa Parks story. Quite looking forward to this one. I've just noticed that the Chibnall is still lingering in the background, so it's written by Mallory Blackman and Chris Chibnall. Right. This episode, so the TARDIS team are going back to 1955 to the deep south of America. Yes. I am looking forward to this one. I think it's an interesting. I think it's a very important subject, so it'll be interesting to see how they tackle it. Rosa next week.
Okay, and I think we'll do there, mate, for 206.
All right.
Thank you so much for sticking with us and ploughing through episode 206. It's been awesome talking through some cool news and merch and our review for the Ghost Monument. I'm not surprised at the scores, if I'm being honest with you. I knew that this one would need to be something pretty special if it was going to outclass the opener, which everybody was hyped for and everything. So we shall see how the series continues as we get into episode 3 next week. So we'll be asking you a lot for your reviews and thoughts and stuff. So we post every Monday on the socials asking for your thoughts and stuff. So look out for that. It's always very cool. Thank you so much. And for those guys that send in audio clips and all that jazz, it's very, very cool. Thank you. Head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. All of our episodes on there for you to listen and download. Plus, you can link off to all of the social accounts from there. We're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. We chat plenty of Doctor Who. throughout the week in between shows. So give us a like, follow, and a sub, whatever, on there. It's all good. There's also buttons on there to go off to the podcast networks. So we're on most of those. Just give us a search. The biggest one is iTunes. Just give us a sub on there so you don't miss a show when it lands on a Friday. And if you are an iTunes listener, if you could spare a minute for a review and a rating, that would be awesome, because that really helps. So thank you to all of those that have left reviews so far. Very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. Also, check out Adam's YouTube channel, The Geeks Handbag.
Geeks Handbag.
Just do a search on YouTube for The Geeks Handbag. You can't miss his little face on there. Loads and loads of cool reviews. Just so many. Just awesome. Honestly, you can lose an hour just going through all of his videos. Your life. Yeah. Adam is also on all the social stuff. So same name, just do a search for The Geeks Handbag. You'll find him across all of that stuff. So give him a like and a follow. Because like I said, we all chat plenty of Who during the week. So next week, we'll look forward to you for 207 and reviewing the episode Rosa. We'll see what we think about that one. Until then, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...